From geography to history, plants and animals, science, and so much more, this is Mike Butler, and welcome to This Day's Trivia from Bison Podcasts. Each episode, we dive into 5 unique trivia topics, all tied to today's date, and our trusty randomizer wheel will pick one of those topics for the episode. Get ready for 16 fast-paced trivia questions with just 5 seconds between each question. Perfect for testing your knowledge solo or with friends and family. At home or on your next road trip. So buckle up. It's time for this day's trivia. Today is October 16th. Get out your pen and paper to tally up your score. It's time for this day's trivia. Here we go. Number 1, let's celebrate the 15th year of National Fossil Day, a time for paleontologists, educators, and students to gather and learn from each other about the importance of preserving fossils for future generations. There are events going on all over the place, including at the Smithsonian National Museum of Natural History, where you can touch and hold real fossils, observe experts working in the lab, and get up close with the museum's T-Rex. Topic number 2, October 16th is National Dictionary Day in the United States, celebrating the birthday of Noah Webster, who played a pivotal role in creating the first comprehensive American dictionary. Perhaps you've heard of the Merriam-Webster Dictionary. Some ideas on what you can do to celebrate from the Merriam-Webster site: play word games, host a spelling bee, write a haiku about fall. That's a great one. Stop the podcast right now and write a haiku about fall, and then send it in to the podcast, thisdaystrivia@gmail.com. Topic number 3. Today marks the anniversary of John Brown's raid at Harpers Ferry in 1859, in what is now the U.S. state of West Virginia. Abolitionist John Brown, along with 21 fellow raiders, attacked the U.S. Armory at Harpers Ferry in hopes to use the weapons seized to equip a liberating army to aid in uprisings against the oppressive practice of slave labor. He was subsequently captured and hanged on December 2nd of that year. His martyrdom is still talked about and learned about in schools across the United States today, as his actions, particularly this raid, are cited as flashpoints igniting the American Civil War. Born on this day in 1962, punk rock and alternative rock icon Flea, best known as the bassist for the Red Hot Chili Peppers. Flea is obviously a stage name, his real name being Michael Balzery. Born in Melbourne, Australia, but eventually relocating to Los Angeles, California as a child, where he would eventually land a bass-playing gig with the LA punk band Fear. He also had an acting role in the 1983 Penelope Spheris film Suburbia, about squatting punk rockers in the LA area. Go check out this seminal film, but be prepared for some pretty graphic stuff. Topic number 5, October 16th, 1995, we saw the Million Man March happen in Washington, D.C., the U.S. Capitol. It was a political demonstration promoting black unity and brotherhood. Estimates put the number of marchers, most of whom were black men, at somewhere between 400,000 and 1.1 million. Those who supported and spoke at the event included Jesse Jackson, Rosa Parks, Cornel West, and Maya Angelou. Today's topic will be John Brown, the militant American abolitionist. Question number 1. John Brown was born in 1800 in what state that borders Massachusetts to the north, Rhode Island to the east, and New York to the west? Answer: Connecticut. Question number 2. John Brown was born into a deeply religious family. What was the Christian denomination that heavily influenced his views? Answer: Calvinism. Question number 3. When young John Brown was just about 5 years old, he and his family moved to the town of Hudson in this state, a state known as the Buckeye State. Answer: Ohio. Its nickname comes from the Ohio buckeye tree. The nuts of a buckeye tree are said to be a good luck charm. Question number 4. What personal tragedy did John Brown experience as a boy in 1808, which would be very hard for any young boy? Answer: his mother died in Hudson. Question number 5. True or false? John Brown was born into an abolitionist family. Answer: true. Their home in Hudson, Ohio would become an Underground Railroad station. John's father, Owen, eventually co-founded the Western Reserve Anti-Slavery Society. Question number 6. Over the course of John Brown's lifetime, Brown fathered how many children? 2, 20, or 40? Answer: 20. 7 with his first wife, Diantha Lusk, and 13 with his second wife, Mary Ann Day. Question number 7. The death of this journalist and editor of the St. Louis Observer and Alton Observer in 1837 further radicalized John Brown's anti-slavery stance and really lit a fire under him. What was the name of this journalist, who was also a fellow abolitionist? Answer: Elijah Lovejoy. He died defending his right to print anti-slavery material. Lovejoy was only 34 years old when he was murdered by an angry mob in Elton, Illinois. Question number 8. In the 1840s into the 1850s, the Browns headed northeast from Ohio and lived on a rented farm in North Elba, located in what U.S. state? Answer: New York. This was land set aside by wealthy abolitionist Gerrit Smith for black families from New York State willing to clear and farm the land. Question number 9. In the 1850s, John Brown became involved in violent anti-slavery actions in Kansas. What do we call this period of conflict today? Answer: Bleeding Kansas. Question number 10. What type of weapon did John Brown and his followers use during the Potawatomi Massacre in Kansas in 1856? Answer: broadswords. On the night of May 24, 1856, Brown and his men took 5 pro-slavery settlers from their cabins on the Potawatomi Creek and hacked them to death. Question 11. In 1858, John Brown created a plan to raid a federal armory. Which famous black leader, abolitionist, and writer met with him but refused to join? Answer: Frederick Douglass. Question number 12. What famous person, a lieutenant colonel at the time, led the U.S. Marine forces that helped to capture John Brown after the raid at Harpers Ferry in 1859? Answer: Robert E. Lee, who would go on to be a pretty famous leader in the Confederacy. Question 13. John Brown was executed on December 2, 1859 for his role in the raid on Harpers Ferry. You can still visit Harpers Ferry today, located in West Virginia. However, at the time of the raid, West Virginia didn't exist yet. What was this area being referred to by the U.S. government in 1859 at the time of the raid? Answer: Virginia. West Virginia separated from Virginia during the Civil War in 1861 and became the 35th state of the U.S. in 1863. Question 14. What prominent French author, known for his novels including Les Miserables and The Hunchback of Notre Dame, was a vocal supporter of John Brown, going to such great lengths as to implore America for a stay of execution for Brown? Answer: Victor Hugo. In fact, it has been suggested by some scholars that Brown was an inspiration for the character of Jean Valjean in Hugo's Les Miserables. Question 15. John Brown's martyrdom had an impact on soldiers during the American Civil War, inspiring a famous marching song that Union soldiers sang and marched to. Later, this song was adopted by Julia Ward Howe into a patriotic hymn that is still well known today. What is the name of this Julia Ward Howe hymn? I'll give you a little taste of the version that inspired Miss Howe. Answer: this marching song would eventually morph into the Battle Hymn of the Republic.
Mine eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord. He is trampling out the vintage where the grapes of wrath are stored. He hath loosed the...
Question 16, tying in the theme from our previous episode. Julia Ward Howe, known for writing the Battle Hymn of the Republic, was an abolitionist, women's rights advocate, and peace activist. In 1870, horrified by the destruction of the American Civil War, she issued a proclamation urging women to unite in promoting peace. When her call for an international women's congress didn't take root, she proposed an annual celebration in June dedicated to peace and womanhood. What early version of a now widely recognized holiday did she help establish? Answer: Mother's Day. She proposed the Mother's Day for Peace, which never caught on nationally. Make sure to check out our next episode as we're breaking format and welcoming Judith A. Yates to the podcast. She sits down with me to discuss her career in criminology and true crime writing, and also to talk about National Crime Prevention Month. She's then quizzed on a topic chosen at random, tied to the date of October 18th. You don't want to miss it. How'd you do? Write into the podcast to tell us your score. Or if you have any suggestions, thisdaystrivia@gmail.com. That's thisdaystrivia@gmail.com. That's all we have for today, but make sure to tune in every Monday, Wednesday, Friday for new episodes and new topics. Interested in ad-free episodes, bonus content, transcripts, and my sources for deeper dives into the topics? Looking for archived material from my previous podcasts, Get the Word, and the English sessions? Go over to patreon.com/Bison Podcast Studios and give us just $1 single for all of it. Patreon.com/Bison Podcast Studios. That's patreon.com/Bison Podcast Studios. Until next time, this is Mike signing off.